Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Sorry, I was trying to set up the webcam and the light and everything, and I was looking at the preview and I'm like, why do I look like a ghost? So I don't know why, but like the lighting is like extra, like making me look really pale. So just ignore it today. I don't know why, but I look like an alien, but it's okay. But hello, Vidim-san. Hello, Seth-san. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming today. For today's stream. It's good to see you guys. So yeah. So today's live stream. Um, I wanted to talk about a few things for today. One thing is that lately I've been trying to get more involved with like the community. I guess you could say the the overarching like Konko Faith and like Shinto communities, like outside of my comfort zone, you could say, like trying to get more involved with like other priests and other communities. But and like how I'm trying to do that was like trying to contact other people and oh sorry, must have for me since I came in for a second. But yeah, like contact other priests and other people. Oh, oh sorry, hold on a second. Okay. Sorry, that's for sense taking. He forgot something. Sure, I don't know. Say hi. He says hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Okay. He says hi. Um, but yeah, so like, uh, where was I? Sorry. So I've been just trying to get in contact with like other priests and stuff, both like in person and online. And I was trying to like talk to people like on social media and stuff, like Twitter and all that. But like the Shinto side of Twitter is kind of scary, and a lot of the like people on there are really intense. And I like the only thing I kept seeing was um like just a lot of criticisms. Like instead of like priests trying to teach people about like the way of kami-sama and like connecting closer to kami-sama, it was just mostly a lot of like criticisms of certain decisions of shrines. So like for example, there was one post going around where like one shrine said that they couldn't make a chinoa, like a sacred straw gate thing, like during nagoshi no oharai. There's like a chinoa, which is like a hoop made of like grass, kind of, basically it's like a particular grass. And so one shrine said like they weren't going to do it that year because, or this year, because the usual artisan, like he retired, so they couldn't make a new one in time because the original artisan was retiring. And then like all of the comments were like, "Oh, I thought it was a rural shrine, but it's like a shrine in Tokyo, and like why couldn't they afford it, and et cetera, et cetera." And like all of these criticisms about like why couldn't they just like make a chinowa, or like, and some people were like, "Oh, I make my own chinoa even though I'm just one priest," or like one person was like, "Oh, there's like ways to do it even though you don't have a craftsman," and like everyone was just kind of like commenting and like kind of criticizing the shrine for not making one. But like I felt so bad because it's like if you've had an artisan do the craft for like every single year and then it's their retirement year, it's kind of also like a little bit sad to just immediately replace his tradition and like just like hire someone else or like get a new ring that like everyone in the community is used to. There's a lot of like context missing and like nuance missing, and it made me kind of sad because like it's like even priests were commenting like with heavy criticisms, and it's like I don't think you would like it if like someone from the outside of your community kind of commented on something you had to make a decision about, and for you, your local community and your parishioners. So it was kind of sad to see like the mindset, I guess you could say, like behind the like approach to like handle something or talk about something. And like I guess I'm kind of criticizing in a way right now, but not really, just kind of pointing out what happened and how it's kind of like a little bit like, there's kind of a like I'm not used to that kind of perspective from priests because like in my circle that I know, like mostly Konko priests and some other priests, like it's mostly just focusing on kami-sama and like helping other people through kami-sama. But like on these other communities, it felt like just always trying to point out like criticisms only, and it felt kind of like disappointing to see and like kind of sad. So I don't know, like it just like I don't like it just kind of made me sad. Like it made me start to think that like you know instead of focusing on like kami-sama and like thinking about how to help other people with kami-sama and people connect closer to kami-sama, like they're only spending time online like making criticisms of other shrines. And it's kind of like I think you could use your time for a better way and use the time to help people be closer to kami-sama, especially if they're like online a lot. Then that time can be used for more productive you know activities. So it kind of made me like disappointed to see and kind of sad. But I hope that and like hope and pray that they like change, that they kind of mature more. So let's see. Williamson says Shinto side of Twitter is scary. Yeah, Konko side of Twitter is kind of dead. Yeah, unfortunately. Williamson says I remember that tweet. They said the priest who was making quinoa retired. For me personally, it's weird. Why is there no one else continuing the tradition? I think in Konko, things like that are more of a community activity, like the Shimenawa Tsukuri, where all the people are making Shimenawa and continuing the tradition. Oh, yes, yes. So yeah, I remember the tweet said it wasn't the like priest, but like a particular like craftsman. So like the craftsman was the person who was like passing down the tradition. But then this year he was retiring, so like they didn't have arrangements in time, but like there was probably something more to it, and probably like also there's kind of like a sense of grief because like if it's been like the one artisan over the years and then suddenly like this year he had to stop, it's kind of sad to not see like his chinola anymore, like his offering. So it could be something like that too. And usually it's like a community activity, like making shimenawa, making chinoa, and stuff like that. But like, yeah, every shrine does things differently, or maybe like there's a community, but it's harder to find the materials and it's harder to find the time. And every shrine has their own kind of circumstances. So like it's sad, but also like I think that if we don't actually know, like if we're not in that community, like I don't think we should try to like like comment on it because we don't actually know the full story. Because like even here, like we used to do shimenawa zukuri like here in our kyokai, but like eventually a lot of the like shrine members got too older, and also it was harder to get the materials like the rice straw to make it. And like we want to restart it, of course, but like finding the materials, finding the right like time, finding the right younger members to help out, it's harder to arrange. So like I don't know, stuff like that can just happen, and we don't really know the shrine specific circumstances or like what's going on or like what happened behind the scenes. And like basically they just had to make the announcement for like their community on the thing, because like if they go to the shrine and there's no chinola, they're gonna be like, why is there no chinola, so they have to like make an announcement. But it's kind of sad because like it's like, yeah, it's kind of disappointing, but also like I think like the other priests and other like people who are unrelated, like commenting publicly, like saying the stuff about the shrine they don't know behind the scenes. It was kind of like sad because I don't know. I think that like they should kind of focus on like their own shrines and their own communities and their own like teachings, so because like it wasn't only that, but it was also like the dance thing. Like there was also commentary on this like dance. So like at the shrine, these like older women, not older, but like, they're like 40s or 50s-year-old women. They were offering like a dance or something, like a performance dance. And like they said something how like the dance was like purification, or like it would like purify your hearts or something like that. And apparently that like rubbed people the wrong way, because like they're like, oh well, they're saying that their dance can purify, but like the Miko and the priest don't purify. And then like everyone kind of like got into a whole frenzy about it. And it was like I don't know, like again, like it's kind of the same thing where it's like if the priest of that shrine like approved the performance, um like it's not really anyone's kind of like, like it's like you can have a problem or like not like the dance like yourself, but if the head priest of that shrine said like, yeah, you can dedicate a dance, then it's like if you're criticizing the dance happening at the shrine, then it's like you're kind of criticizing the priest's decision as well. And it's like trying to like put yourself above the priest who made that decision, and that's also kind of like sad, because it's not really like, again, it's like not to do with like your specific shrine community. So it's like I'm not saying they can't say anything, but like I feel like it went too overboard. And like there was some people starting to say like this is like desecrating the traditions, and like they don't understand like the real way of like traditions and stuff. And then like everyone was like exploding, and I'm like, guys, like like I didn't get involved. I was just like reading through everything, like I think this is too much, like I think this is a little bit too much. And like, because again, like, yeah, you cannot, like, you can find it a little bit weird or like off putting, but like the fact that you would like post online like all of this stuff, that it's like a big huge disrespect and evil and stuff, and it's kind of like ignoring the shrine priest who like approved it and like trying to like support their own shrine. It's kind of like, it's like creating animosity for, and like discord and disharmony and like kegare basically for no reason. Because it's not that serious, like it's just a dance offering. So it felt kind of bad, because it's like, you know it's crazy, because like in the same breath they're like talking about like oharai and like purification and like, all this stuff, and then like in the next post they're like stirring up kegare and stirring up drama, and like like causing so much like negativity and like criticism and like stress, like it's like I feel like there's like a gap in like, like the practice and then like the actions, so it's kind of like interesting to see that, so it was like, yeah, like I don't know, I get it, like I get why they wanted to like say something, and maybe it's okay that they speak their mind, but I think sometimes it was a little bit too like harsh and a little bit too judgmental, and like to the point where it stirred up a whole bunch of drama, like and kegare, like over nothing that serious. um so it was like pretty sad to see, because it's like, if we're talking about like oharai and like purification and like harmony and like, kami-sama, but then like half the time it's like you're starting kegare and starting drama. It's like, like we have to kind of take it a step back and kind of realize, like reflect on your actions and reflect on your words. And I think there's a difference between like privately expressing like criticism and frustration and like in a closed ish more space where like, you're talking with your friend or you're talking with people, and you're like, and you actually might, and it's even more valid when you actually know the shrine, you actually know the priest at the shrine, and you're like, yeah, this is like something that they're always doing. There's kind of like a difference there. But if you're just like posting on your Twitter publicly, and then like everyone's seeing it and everyone's commenting, and it's causing this whole whirlwind, it's kind of like, it's kind of like a whole different situation. So yeah, everything senses, yeah. It's the same priest who's always making Twitter drama. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's like the one guy, and then there's kind of like, I would say there's like another like 5 or 6 like usual suspects you'll see on like every post. It's like always the same person, and then like the same other 5 people, and it's like guys, like it's like, how much time do you have to be on Twitter all day and talking about the drama? It's like, it's kind of intense, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I think that they have to kind of like stop and reflect and like try to change the perspectives, like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, it's like, it's like, I'm not saying they're wrong for having criticism. I'm not saying they have to like be quiet, like don't say anything, and like, you're not allowed to say negative opinions or something. I'm not saying that, but like priorities, like priorities and like balance, and like think about, like, does it really need to be this whole situation, or like, can we just say the piece and then go, like, it doesn't have to be this whole thing, right? So yeah, like, exactly like you said, Vadim, like I kind of get it. Like, yeah, like it's kind of interesting. Like, I prefer like the traditional dances, but like, again, it's not like my business, because like the head priest of that shrine approved it. So it's not like these ladies are like barging into the shrine and like, doing it without permission. Like, they got permission from the head priest. So it's like, okay, well, it's not my business, right? Like, the head priest said okay, so that's between the head priest and the ladies who do the dance. Like, it's not like, I'm not like, it's like between you guys, right? So yeah, it's really not that serious. Like, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Especially when there's actual issues happening right now, like shrines are getting like arson and damages, and like people are stealing the copper roofs and stuff. Like, those are real things to like be upset about, not like, you know, not having the chinawar, like the dance being kind of weird. Like, it's like, so I don't know. It feels kind of like disappointing, like kind of sad to see, but like, I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, Twitter is always the worst place. Like, people just go on there to complain about anything, I swear. Yes. I miss the old internet where you could just post stuff and other people had to go out of their way to make you feel bad about it. No, exactly. Same. Like, I don't know. I think like Twitter is kind of like, it can either be like a really good place where you can connect with people, or it just like, kind of breeds the toxic mindset with people. And it's kind of sad. So it's like, I don't know. But like, yeah, I just hope they kind of like realize, that there's another way to approach this. And like, that's the thing too. Like I see it, but, and like I'm commenting on it now, but like if I were to like comment on it on Twitter itself, I feel like it's gonna be like a whole thing, and like I don't want to like start a whole thing, and I worry that like I'm gonna be misunderstood, and there's gonna be like a language barrier. I mean, I can speak Japanese, but like, like, how like people can misinterpret you even in your native language. I feel like that would happen. Like, they like, just a misinterpretation would happen, or like a misunderstanding, and then like it's gonna be a whole thing because like I'm a foreigner, and like I'm a young person, and like I'm like feminine, so it's gonna be like there's all these aspects to it that's gonna like cause a situation. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna like touch it, but also it's like, it's kind of just, I just wish people would like, especially, I mean, people as in like clergy of, I'm not even talking about like for me, it's not even like a shrine Shinto thing, or like a Kyoha Shinto thing, or like, anything really. It's not like a label thing. It's really like, if you say that you're dedicated to the kami-sama, and you say that you serve kami-sama, and you say that you want to protect kami-sama and protect the traditions, then, like, try to follow kami-sama's way, like try to follow kami-sama's guidance, and like, try to follow the way of the kami in like everything you do, and your actions and your words. Like, like, try to like one of the things that's important is like, keeping harmony with others, and like, if there's like a problem, you can talk to the person about it, but you don't have to like openly like cause this whole like kind of chaos and like drama and like, so it's kind of like that. And every time I say that, sometimes people are like, well, like, kami-sama bring like divine punishment, and kami-sama get angry too. And it's not like kami-sama are pushovers. And I'm like, I know that. Like, I literally know that. But like, don't you think like kami-sama would be more upset about like the arson and like people destroying their shrines and like stealing the copper and defacing the shrine than like, someone not making the chinola for whatever reason maybe. Like, I think, like that's the thing too. Like, it feels like they're like people use kami-sama to justify their own opinions and their own negative emotions, and they don't actually try to understand like kami-sama's feelings, like in my opinion. So like that might sound presumptuous of me, but like I think that, like if I were to stop and reflect and think about like, would kami-sama be more upset about like a weird dance, or would they be more upset about someone trying to burn down the shrine that everyone was like came together to build up, like, so it's kind of like that. um I mean, I'm not saying I know what kami-sama thinks, but just based on like history and like patterns and like knowledge of the past and like traditions handed down and like stories of kami-sama, I think that if kami-sama didn't want that offering dance, like the head priest wouldn't approve it, or like something would happen where like they wouldn't be able to perform, but like if someone comes to the shrine with a bad intention, like, yeah, that's like a big problem, right? So, I just feel like whenever someone says like, well, kami-sama would be mad about this thing, like, and they're serious about it, it's not like kind of like a wondering or like a conjecture or like a thought. It's like they say it with like it's true and it's like undeniable truth. I think people have to be careful with that because we don't actually really know like what kami-sama's feeling or thinking. And I see it a lot where people try to use kami-sama to justify their own feelings, and that's like a really slippery slope, because it's like, like like it kind of leads to more like, I don't know how to explain this, but it leads to like kind of like fear mongering and like trying to control other people, and like um in a way it's kind of like threatening people to that, like if you're saying like this makes kami-sama angry, then it's like, okay, now I better not do this because I don't want to make kami-sama angry. It's all of these like different factors that has to be considered, and like you have to think about the weight of your words when you invoke kami-sama's name. So like, even for me, like when I say like, I'm sure kami-sama would be happy about this, or I'm sure kami-sama is thankful, like I don't say it because like it's a nice thing to say. Like I genuinely feel like Tenchi Kano no kami-sama would be happy that you're helping other people, or they would be really happy if you're in a better place. And I say that because I know, like in the Gorikai and the stories of in the Konko Faith, like, yeah, kami-sama wants us to like help others and like live a life with blessings, and realize and recognize our blessings. Like, it's not coming from a place of like just I think it's like know what kind of kami-sama Tenchi Kano kami-sama is. So I say it with like that deep meaning, I don't try to like, use that lightly, because I know like I can't actually like just say whatever and say kami-sama said it. Like, that's kind of crazy, so I have to be careful, right? Tora-san said, agreed, I can't speak for kami-sama, but it's hard for me to imagine they are that worried about a dance. Even if it is weird or non-traditional, at least it's done sincerely with love. Yeah, I think so too, like, I don't know, like, it might be like, because here's the thing, like I've been to other shrines, like ceremonies and festivals, and there's been like full on like rock concerts. Like I saw like some kids doing I forgot what it was, but it was like some kind of like YouTube dance or like TikTok dance, and they were like in the Kagura den, like doing the TikTok dance or something. And I was like, okay, like it's fun. It's funny. It's new. It's modern. It's okay. Like, I don't know, because like the kids dance was like part of the whole program where like there was the real traditional like Kagura dance, and then there was like the Miko dance, and then there was like other performances after that. So that was like one of the performances, but it was like striking because it was so like modern, and they were like, like I think it was like with rap music or something, and they were like TikTok. Yeah, it was funny, but I was like, I don't know, it's the neighborhood kids, it's their neighborhood shrine, like it is what it is, right? Like if they, it's kind of funny, but yeah, I think it was interesting. But I don't know, like again, like that's just it is what it is. Like the if the kids wanted to offer the TikTok dance to Kami-sama, that it is what it is, right? Like I don't know, so it's up to just the whole community to agree or disagree or like, things like that. Yeah, Tora-san says, I feel like it'd be like getting a weird birthday present from a grandparent. I hear you like this anime stuff, and it's some weird show you never heard of. You just laugh it off. No, exactly, exactly. Like I think that's the important thing, right? It's like as long as it's sincere, I think that's what really matters. I think there was some criticism I did agree with, where it was like they might have been using the shrine to like promote their own stuff, and they like thought they were like better than the shrine. And I'm like, if that's true, then yeah, that's like pretty bad, like it should be like an offering first and foremost. But I leave it up to the head priest to make that judgment. Like if the head priest talked to the dancers and talked to them and like saw that they were sincere, um, then okay. But like if they were just trying to take advantage of the shrine, like the public space and the event, yeah, that's pretty bad. But like, I'm sure that they wouldn't be able to, again, like probably something would happen, or like, it wouldn't have really been, that smooth or anything like that. So I don't know, but it's just like, yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah, Vadim says, I mean, for Konko, Tenchika no Kami is a supportive parent, so I'm sure he'd be like, wow, that's great, kid. No, exactly, exactly. I'm sure Kami-san would be like, yeah, that's good, like, because it's funny, like, it's generational gap. I don't know. Because the kids were like, I think the oldest one was like 12. So they were like young. They were like probably from the age of between 9 and 12. So they were like, they were kids. They were like little kids just doing the TikTok dance with like glow sticks and stuff. It was funny. And it was funny because I was with my friends, and even some people in the audience were like, what is this? But it was okay because like, again, like the priest approved it, and it was part of the Matsuri. Like it was part of the whole. Um I think it would have been weird if it was like just that only, and there was no Kagura or no dance offering. I think that would be kind of weird. But I mean, if it's just part of the whole show, it's okay. It's something that kids can get involved in, because kids are not really interested in like like here too, like shrines and stuff. It's kind of like, that's what my grandma likes to go. My grandma likes to go to the shrine. It's not like but if they get to do something, if they get to participate, it makes them excited to be a part of the Matsuri. So I think it's good. Yeah. Tora says, I don't get it, but I'm glad you came to the shrine to show it to me. Exactly, exactly. So that's why, like, I thought of that time, and I'm like, if it gets people to come to the shrine, if it gets people to kind of connect, even if it's a little bit like weird or like not traditional, I think, there's kind of like a balance you have to make, where it's like you have to kind of bridge like the modern stuff, the secular stuff with the traditional stuff, the religious stuff, so you can kind of, bring it all together, right? So Yeah, but it's kind of shocking to see when you're like, wait, what? You're like, what's all this? So yeah, but I don't know. It was interesting to see like that dance and this one and like I don't know. It's just like at the end of the day though, like I think that the most important thing is like, again, like you can say your opinion and then just move on. But it was like going on like for like I kept seeing posts like every hour. Like people were getting into it. I think it trended or something on Japanese Twitter, and I was like, this is too much. Like this is way too much for like something this like mm, like insignificant basically, So it was just kind of like it's kind of ridiculous. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, cause it just made me think about like how people kind of like they get lost in these like discussions and like what is right, what is wrong, what is traditional, what's not traditional. And like the whole time I feel like they're not like including kamisama in this conversation, like I feel like kamisama's forgotten very easily. And a lot of times kamisama is just kind of used as a like a point to make, if this happens then kamisama is going to be angry or something, or if this happens kamisama won't like it or something. And it's like, it's just like so so crazy, to me it's a little bit like irresponsible. It's a little bit irresponsible to just say this stuff without thinking about it. And you're not thinking about your position as a priest, you're not thinking about your influence, you're not thinking about the impact it will have. And for all the people who like agree with the person, or like for all the people who comment the same thing, there's like hundreds of people more who see it but they don't agree, and they just see like someone being so like strict and so like uptight and critical, and they don't feel kamisama from that behavior. I won't say that person, because everyone has their moments, right? But from this behavior, it's harder to feel kamisama when you're kind of like stuck in this like loop, So that's kind of something you have to be careful of, right? To not get too like caught up in it. But yeah, like yeah, Vadim San says, I mean, that priest was just retweeting and boosting all the people who blindly supported his view on that. Yeah, I saw that too, and it was like, it's like just let it go, man. Like just let it go. Like, like say your piece, let it go. Like it doesn't have to be this whole thing. And it's just like it's like again, it's like this behavior is not, it's not like people find it hard to feel close to the divine. It's a very like human thing, to get like caught up in like, how we should or shouldn't do things. And like, I'm not saying like, again, like I'm not saying like we can do whatever, but again, like you say your piece and then like it is what it is, right? Like so yeah, I don't know, it was just kind of like sad to see. And I know this a lot because like in Konko Faith, like especially for being like a like Toritsugi mediator, and in Konko Faith, living the faith is like something that's really really important. And it's not just like you just do ritual and then you go home. It's like, no, you have to like continuously practice faith like everywhere and like anytime, right? So like it has to be really, you have to be really like careful and like mindful of like how you're representing like kami-sama and stuff, right? And again, it's not like to say like you have to be a perfect person or like pristine or everything like that. Like you can have your opinions, you can be salty, you can be angry, you can be annoyed, like that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's like, where is your annoyance coming from? Like, where is your anger coming from? Like, why are you salty? Why are you upset? Why are you angry? And if it's like you have to reflect on that too, right? Like, are you angry and like upset because of like an actual like injustice and problem, or are you just getting upset over like little things that you shouldn't be really putting that much energy and anger into, because it's not really actually hurting anybody or causing like real issues, you know? So it's like kind of like that, right? Like we have to evaluate each situation and like, is this really like, like are we like, we have to understand like it's okay to feel angry and upset and like all these feelings, but like where and why is it coming from that place, right? And because it's natural to be upset when someone is getting hurt or when there's an injustice or something that people put a lot of love and care into is getting destroyed or damaged, or any of these really serious things, right? So like that's makes sense. Like of course, like even Kami-sama, I feel personally would be saddened by it and upset by it, but again, we have to reflect on our own feelings as well, and like where do they come from. And if we find that they're not coming from a place that like there's not really any reason to get this angry about, we kind of have to reflect on that and be like, well, why did I get so angry about it? Is it really worth getting this angry about? Is it helping people see how this is a wrong thing, or is it just stirring up drama? So you have to like think about everything and like really reflect on your actions and really think about like, in a deep way. But I feel like unfortunately, like a lot of people don't get that kind of guidance or like training, maybe. I don't know how to explain it. And they just kind of like think that, okay, I'm a priest, so like everything I say is like correct. And it's like, it's not that simple, because it's true, like to become a priest, like a Shinto priest or anything, like a religious qualified person, like of a long tradition in Japan. Yeah, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort. It's like a respected position. But just because you may manage to reach that position doesn't mean like you just stop there and then like everything you do and say is like authority. It's not like how it should really be working, you know. That's why, like, at least in Konko Faith, like when you're like, you're going to be in this position of like authority and like, being a minister and being a priest and stuff, like that's why you learn, like you have to like continuously grow yourself and continuously try to follow Kami-sama and like reflect on yourself. And you have to like understand that you're a representative of Kami-sama, and like no one's going to be a perfect representative like day one, but the important thing is that you're trying to reach that level, like you're trying every day. And even if you have a moment where you're like heated, you kind of got to roll it back and like reflect on that too, and understand like maybe that wasn't like, maybe I went too far and maybe I should like think about it a bit more, and that's okay. But like you have to just keep trying. But it's kind of like it's very rare to see that, like in my experience outside of the Konko Faith, unfortunately. And it kind of leads to a lot of like stuff like this where it's like a priest says something and then everyone's like, oh, the priest said it, and then everyone gets a whole situation happening. And then it causes a lot of like kegare and drama and like troubles and like all this stuff, right? So it's like kind of sad. Okay, well, let's see. So Vadim says, I see a lot of Miko and my performers commenting. I think they just feel devaluation of their own training and work when non-trained people are saying that their dance is divine and purifying too. Oh no, yeah. Like I understand those criticisms. Like if those dancers were saying that they were like powerful to like like over the priest's ritual and over the Miko-san, that's kind of crazy. But I don't actually like, I was trying to read and I don't actually know like what they thought or believed. And I'm sure that if they had said like that so clearly, I don't think the head of that shrine would allow them to perform. Like That's my generous response. Unless the head priest was like really like just like corrupted, or like he didn't like, or he or she didn't really like care. Like unless that was the case. But if they actually thought that, and they actually said that like as directly as people said that they were saying, um yeah, I think that the responsibility lies on the head priest of that shrine who allowed them to perform, um rather than like really like, well, it's the dancer's kind of fault too to be like that arrogant. But like, but yeah, if they actually were like that, it's pretty messed up. But if they were just dancing, and they what I my understanding of the nuance is that they said that they said that their dance is purifying and stuff. I didn't hear about the Mitamashizume part, but like I heard that they were purifying, and like they like if they don't understand how deep that means to a shrine, um it can be misunderstood, because they probably just meant like purifying as in like, clearing the person's, like healing the person's soul. But I think they probably use those terms without understanding the weight of them in the shrine world. Like, because again, if they were really that malicious, yeah, the head priest has a lot of explaining to do, because like why would you allow like arrogant people like this? But and like how I understood is like they didn't actually understand like the deeper meaning of like Mitamashizume or Oharai. They just thought like it's like healing people, like seeing the dances, like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so healing. And I feel like refreshed. Like that's kind of the nuance I got. But I think it just like got blown out of proportion, honestly, because like again, like I think it's up to the head priest to make that decision. And because like for example, if those dancers came to our shrine and they said like, we want to offer our dance to Kami-sama, like Tenchika no Kami-sama, and they were like really serious and sincere, and then like Masafumi sensei said, yes, like come and offer the dance here, and then like we shared it on the shrine page, and then everyone got angry. It's like, it's kind of like everyone's also getting angry at like Masafumi sensei for like allowing them, without like trusting the head priest who allowed them to do that. So it's kind of like I don't know, it's like a whole like drama thing. It's not just about the dancers, but it's like it's also a criticism on the whole shrine. It's like criticism on the head priest, and criticism on the staff, and the criticism on the miko of the shrine. So it's like it's really messy. And I'm trying to see like which shrine now. I'm trying to remember. Um, I think, oh, they cropped it out. They cropped it out. I don't know, but yeah. So that's why like um I don't want to say anything, because like I don't want to wrongfully judge the head priests or the priests of that shrine that allowed them to do the dance. Um, so like like it's between the shrine, right? um and how they saw the people who did the dance and stuff. So I think it's like, yeah, maybe they said something wrong or like misspoke or etc. But again, like it's a matter of like, it's like, okay, yeah, they can't actually do purification, they can't actually do what the Miko-san do, and that should be it. So it's like, okay. you know Oh yeah, it was Kote Hiragu. I thought so. I thought it was like a computer shrine. But yeah, it's Kote Hiragu. So that's even more because is it like, isn't it like Kote Hiragu, like the, hold on, I'm gonna search, like the head shrine of Computer Faith? Because yeah, if so, that's kind of like also like saying bad about the whole head shrine of computer shrines. So yeah, so yeah, to criticize the dance that they allowed on their shrine grounds is also criticizing Kota Hiragu, and basically saying they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know um like all this stuff. So yeah, so that's kind of like a big thing. And I don't know, I just like I feel like the priests at Kota Hiragu I'm sure they did their due diligence, and I'm sure they like did an interview and saw their credentials, and like maybe they just misspoke. I'm not gonna say like Kotohiragu is like wrong for allowing them there, because that's between them and the shrine. So yeah, like it's like a matter of like respect, because it's like I might personally like not like the dancers, and I personally wouldn't like do like I'll like have that dance here at our shrine, but I respect Kotohirogu's priest's decision to allow them to do that, because there's something I don't know probably. So like whatever happened behind the scenes or their discussion, and if it came from a sincere place, then okay. If it came from a place of like money or something and a corruption, then no. But but at the end of the day, it's like their internal thing. So yeah, it's like I don't think it's like to bring a whole drama about it. It's kind of like dragging Kota Hirogu into this whole thing as well. It's not just the dancers; it's like the whole shrine too, right? So I think that's also like a Japanese cultural thing, because like it's never just the one person. It's always like who was in charge or like who was responsible for the decision, or like who was responsible for this person, and then yeah, it kind of goes back more. So it's kind of like that's kind of like that whole thing. So it's like a whole drama. Yeah. So I don't know. It's like I don't know, but like I don't know. I just feel sad because it's like again, like you can have criticisms and like commentary, but like making it a whole thing and not considering like the priests of the shrine of Kotehirogu who like allowed them to perform and all this stuff. It's like it's just like there's a lot of kind of like not considering the overall, like the big picture, like reducing kegare, reducing disharmony, showing respect to another shrine, showing respect to the priest of that shrine. There's a lot involved here that's like really messy. So it's kind of sad to see it. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. it just makes me wish like um if like the community, if like the clergy and the believers of like all the different faiths and all the different shrines could come together more and kind of like be less like critical and more like supportive of each other. I think that there could be a stronger image of shrines and like priests and kamisama, um as like genuine places where you can change who you are as a person and become a better person and not become like someone so steeped up in drama and stuff. I think that shrine should be a place where we grow to become better people and we grow to become closer to kami centered way, not human centered way. So I kind of hope for that, but it's kind of like not going that direction. And it makes me really sad to see, because even like nowadays with all like the scandals and stuff, like with like there's a lot of scandals in the shrine world, and there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of like stuff with like money and like people not all this stuff, and it's not giving a good image of shrines or priests or even believers to like a bigger population of Japan who's like kind of more secularized. Like they're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the shrine for like Instagram or like Goshuin and stuff. And they don't understand like the actual way of kami and like living together with kami-sama. Like they just think like, oh, shrines are just like businesses, basically, like good luck charm businesses or like Goshuin business. And they're just like cultural buildings, but like I don't feel anything there because they're so disconnected personally from kami-sama. So like I don't want this to keep happening. So today I was just thinking about it because it's like I'm reflecting on it, like like, why does this happen? And like, how do we move past this? And, like, how do we as a community kind of show like the importance of not just like saying you're worshiping Kami-sama or saying that you go to shrines or saying that you're a priest, but like actually how do we like genuinely like embody and like live and like practice like faith and the way of Kami-sama and Kami-centered heart. And I feel like that's being lost like over time really slowly. And even for me, when I was like a kid, like when I was like younger, and I knew about like Shinto already. Like I knew about Shinto when I was like young, like when I was like 9 or 10, like around that age. And my impression of it was like this impression that like, a lot of the priests didn't like even think the Kami-sama were real, or they were just doing it for cultural reasons, or like, basically the like actual religious part was just like for formalities, and like no one actually like thought about the Kami-sama at all. It was just like for culture and tradition and like history and stuff, like state, kind of like more like state Shinto kind of feeling I understood at that time. And like that's also why like when I kind of got more involved in Konko Faith, I was more moved by it because it felt like this was like a faith that actually like retained and like knew like the way of Kami-sama, like living with the divine in our daily lives, like, following Kami-centered way and like actually believing in like or like understanding the existence of like these forces in the world. And that was like the world is actually alive, like there's actually like life in everything, not just a human body but like everywhere. So that's why like I really had an affinity to Kongo Faith more, because I felt like it kept that spirit that I was looking for. Whereas like when I knew about Shinto when I was younger, it felt like, oh, that was like the belief like on paper, but like in practice, like they don't actually believe like the world has life. It's just like I'm just protecting this tradition for like cultural reasons or like historical reasons or anything like that. And those reasons are valid too, but like it wasn't what I was like looking for or like felt a connection to. Personally, like I just was like, okay, so they're gonna protect the place, but like I want to actually feel close to what I'm experiencing like deep down, right? So it was kind of like that. And I still see the same pattern over the years, and it's kind of like it's hard for it to like change, I guess. But I hope it changes someday, because like for example, when I lived in Toronto, there was this place I really loved to go. It was called Casaloma. It's like this big historical kind of it's not old. It's like it was made by like a rich person. Like a rich knight in Canada, and he wanted to make a big mansion, but he made it look like a castle. And it was like in the 1800s. It was like a Victorian mansion slash castle thing. It was like his house, but then he went bankrupt, so it became a hotel. But then the hotel like stopped operating, so that it became a museum. And now it's a museum. But anyways, I really love going there, like just exploring the grounds and like the look of the castle, and it's very beautiful and everything. But again, it's just a museum. It's like a historical landmark. It's the original purpose of the castle is doesn't exist anymore. So I felt like a lot of like shrine priests saw their shrines as kind of like a casaloma, like a historical landmark, like a museum of sorts in a way, but not it's not exactly the same, but kind of that idea of like preserving rituals and preserving the building and preserving the grounds, but the concept of like actually connecting to what Kami-sama is, I felt like there was a gap, like in that, like since I was younger and like kind of now that there's like a gap that's kind of there, but that at least in Konko Faith, I felt like there's no gap, and maybe that's because like the Konko Faith shrines or Hiromai is not like as like big huge buildings or like historical. Well, Konko Town is and some are, but most of the time it's like this, right? Like it's just a little humble building, right? So maybe that's part of it, but I don't think so, because it's like Konko Faith is also deeper with like Toitsugi and like really living with Kami-sama's like really core practice, which I love. But yeah, it feels like a lot of the majority of that happens more often than not, and it makes me sad. And again, not everybody, right? Like there's priests in other faiths who are like they genuinely feel Kami-sama. Like again, like the one priest I know at like Fushimi Inari Taisha, like I really respect him, and he like really feels Kami-sama. And there's like a few other priests I know who like genuinely feel like that spiritual connection, but they're like so few and far in between. It makes me really sad. And like again, I don't know like what I'm supposed to do like about it, because like I don't know. I'm like a foreigner. I'm like an outsider. I'm like I'm not I'm not in the whole like like I'm not anyone important. I'm not like the emperor, like who can like actually kind of do something. Maybe even the emperor can't do something. I don't know. But it's kind of like I don't know what to do. But I recognize this is like an issue. I feel like it's an issue. Because again, it's like when you kind of lose the connection with Kami-sama, a lot of times you end up in these like kind of hypocritical situations where you're like saying again in like one sentence you're saying about like oharai and like praying for like happiness and safety and like removal of impurities and like for everyone to be harmonious and happy in your prayers, but then in your actions it's not happening. So it's like you, even if you say the prayers over and over again, if you're not doing that in your life, if you're not trying to do it at least, it's like the prayers are not happening. It's like the prayers are not praying. Like we're not, it's like that's not how we get results. We can't, so it's like praying to Kami-sama for like I don't know, like I don't know, I don't even know how to explain this, but it's like that, right? Like you pray to Kami-sama for peace and happiness and so on, and then you go and do an action that directly causes discord and disharmony and making people angry and sad. And it's like, it's like we can't do that, right? Like it kind of becomes hypocritical. So yeah, like and I'm not saying everyone has to be perfect, but like at least if you're praying about it, it should be like, okay, I'm going to try to make the things I'm praying about happen, so I can like follow what I'm praying about, right? So I don't think that's illogical or strange. I think it's just important part of the practice. So it's kind of like that where I see like these issues. And that's always kind of been something that's like pushed me away from religion as a whole, because it's very easy for people in a religion, like it doesn't matter what religion, that they like say kind of like one teaching, but then like the teaching is not tried to be embodied in their life. So that ends up this huge gap that is really like disturbing for me to see. And I kind of like want to pull away from the people who are like that, because I don't want to be like that. I don't want to follow the same patterns. So I end up distancing myself, from that kind of thing. But it's very easy for it to happen. And I just want people to reflect, I guess, like, because like I know that I've been the same. Like I've had moments in the past where I'm saying, like, I'm praying like all this good stuff, like harmony and peace and happiness and like blessings and etc. But then like maybe the next day or something, I see something that makes me angry, and I start to like say all this like salty stuff and get angry at someone, or like have emotions like a person. But the important thing is that you like stop and you reflect and you say like, you know what, I didn't like how I did that. I don't like how I was in that moment. I don't want to be like that person. So I'm going to keep trying to change myself. I think that's the important part. And I'm probably repeating the same thing, but it's like, it's just so important that I want to explain this like as much as I possibly can, because I feel like no matter how much you try to explain it, like it's really hard for people to kind of like embody it, even for myself. So it's kind of scary, it's kind of scary like that, because it's like you can easily get lost in the patterns without realizing it. And yeah, it's like it's scary like that, and I don't even know like how you stop the pattern, or how you really pass down traditions, and like how do you make that kind of thing stick. Because it's like, even if like our generation manages to do it, it's not guaranteed like the generation after us, et cetera, is going to keep protecting that way either, right? So yeah, it's like, I don't know, all I can do is pray to Kami-sama about it. But it's like, there's a lot of things that I think like we as people, like we need to unpack, but like nobody wants to do the unpacking, like, and it's like uncomfortable, and it's like it's work, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of like, like hard moments on yourself. Like you have to really look at yourself, and you have to like face yourself, and that's hard, right? Like nobody really, like when you see the ugly parts of yourself, that's like, that's intense, right? Like it's really hard to like look at your ugly sides and be like, yeah, that's me. Like that is something I'm doing, right? A lot of people don't want to do that, and they want to ignore it, or they want to pretend that's not part of them. But we, in my opinion, like in my experience too, like you have to do that, because otherwise like we don't actually change, and we don't actually grow, and we don't like become wiser. We just keep repeating the same cycle until we die, and then that cycle gets passed down to other people, and then we end up in like messes like this, like right now. So yeah, it's like that whole thing, right? Like, and again, like I don't even know how you're supposed to like talk about this. But I think that the only way that will really get through, I think, to people is like through your own actions, hopefully. So like, um like I always think back to Konko Daijin sama, like again, like he was just a farmer. He didn't have like political influence, he didn't have an army, he wasn't like born like Alexander the Great, like he had a whole situation happening. Like he was just a farmer in like rural Konko town, right? But he, like through his faith with Kami-sama, he was able to start a whole faith and like a whole movement, and like inspire people to help others. And that's like really inspiring to me. And it's like, again, like how did he do that? And it's just like all he did was like really like have trust in Kami-sama, and like even through like all sorts of hardships and like horrible pain, he didn't stop trusting Kami-sama, and he didn't stop praying to Kami-sama. He just kept communicating and trusting and praying and relying on Kami-sama, and like did things that he thought weren't like, he like, sometimes I remember there was this one story in the Gurikai where like Kami-sama told him to go on a walk, and like he'll like, I think he'll like find something. I think he was like, he'll find his wallet, or I don't remember. But basically he went on the walk, and then he was like, Kami-sama, I didn't find the thing that you said I would find. But then he's like, you know what? But I enjoyed the walk. Like I got to go on a walk. And then he went back home, and that was it. But some other people might have said like, oh my God, Kami-sama made me go on this big journey and nothing happened. And then it's like, I don't trust Kami-sama, and like Kami-sama lied to me, something like, all this like bad feelings. But Konko Daijin-sama like always like trusted Kami-sama no matter what, and always saw and felt like Kami-sama had the best intentions for him. And it was true, like Kami-sama did bless him and he received many blessings and lots of divine virtue, to the point that, the Konko faith began. So, try to think about it like that, like just try to follow that and like see where that goes, because I genuinely don't know like any other way. Like I don't know what else, like, because if you just try to preach, or if you just try to tell people things, like if you just try to do like teachings and stuff, people are gonna be like, yes, this person is so wise and they're so good. And then what happens a lot of times is like people just hear stuff and then they like think it's good, and then it stops there. Like it just stops there. Because if you think about it, like how many like, and I'm not saying they're wrong. Like I'm not saying self-help books are like bad or wrong, or like people who teach stuff are bad or wrong. But like how many times is like someone has like all these like books about like wisdom and reflections and like teachings and like how to help yourself and how to grow yourself, but then like it's the same thing, like they fall in the same pattern anyway. And it's like, okay, but like how do we actually break out of this, so, or like even with religions, right? Like people follow the teachings of like Jesus, or they follow teachings of Buddha, or like, they follow like, this certain specific spiritual leader. And it's like, but they just like listen to them, or they just read them, but then like nothing actually happens in real life. So then it's like it just stops there. And it's like it's so mottainai, it's like such a waste, that there's all this wisdom in the world from like generations ago, thousands of years ago. There's like even not religious ones, but like from like eons ago, there's like wisdom all over the world. um like even like certain philosophies and like you know beliefs and etc. And this, in spite of all this knowledge, in spite of all these teachings, in spite of all this wisdom and philosophy, like we're still stuck in like this madness of like human life. um because I feel like people just hear something good and then they're like, that's good, and then nothing happens. It's like, so it's like, and I'm guilty of that too. That's how I know. That's exactly how I know, because like in my like teenager years and like university years, I would read like so many philosophies. I'm reading like all these like ancient Greek philosophers, ancient Chinese philosophers, Art of War, like Marcus Aurelius, like all this stuff. I was like, I thought of myself as an intellect, like all this stuff, right? So embarrassing. But then I was reading all this stuff and thinking I'm like so intellectual, and like I have so much knowledge, and like I know all the secrets of the world. And then like, who was I as a person? Like I was just this like university kid who thought I knew everything. It was like so embarrassing. And it's like I didn't know anything. And what did I do half the time? Like I was always like having gossip with people, or like commenting on people's behavior, like, oh my god, did you see what she said? Like, oh my god. And then it's like starting all this drama and all this stuff. And it's like, Olivia, what were you doing? Like, you had all this wisdom at your hands and you didn't even use it because you were so like caught up in like the ego side of it, thinking that just because you read it, you suddenly knew everything. And it doesn't work like that. You have to actually put into practice and actually like try to live what these wisdoms are teaching. I didn't just automatically know everything just because I read it, right? It's like, it's kind of like that. So, and people get really stuck in those like in that mindset, and they don't like move forward. And that would have been me if I didn't like find Konko Faith or like know Konko Daijin's story. Because through reading Konko Daijin-sama's story, I was like, oh, like like, yeah, this person, like, he actually tried to live like the teachings, and he actually tried through everything to follow Kami-sama. He wasn't even like doing teachings for people in the first part, because he was like developing his faith in Kami-sama by himself. And then people started to come to him naturally, like, why are you getting all these good things happening to you? And he was like, I just prayed to Kami-sama. So, it was like very natural. And that like moved me personally, because I was like, oh, like that's what's missing. I'm not actually doing the thing in my daily life. I just think I know everything, but I don't actually embody it. I don't actually know through my experiences and through my interactions with others. So yeah, that's the important part. So yeah. Tora-san says, that story sounds like me arguing with my husband when I was pregnant and he wanted me to go for a stupid walk for my stupid mental health. And when I did, I'd be like, oh, I guess that was good for me. Oh no, exactly, exactly. Sometimes you just need to go for a walk, you just need to walk and enjoy like the breeze, enjoy the trees, enjoy the sun. It's really that simple sometimes. you know like honestly, Kami-sama is like, you need to get out of the farm, you need to get out of the house, just go to the next town, enjoy the day, don't think about anyone, don't think about anything, just go enjoy the walk and come back home. It's like sometimes you just need that. And it's like if Kami-sama said just go for a walk, like maybe Konko Daiji-san would have been like, oh, but I have to do the farm work, I have to, etc., and like feel bad about it. But Kami-sama didn't want him to feel bad about it. I think Kami-sama just wanted him to like go, go on the walk, don't think about it, because it's important to have that clear state of mind when you're going, rather than like walking and you're like anxious about stuff. So it's like just gotta go. But like, yeah, so that's something that's scary to me, where like I see it a lot. And again, like I did it too, where like I still kind of do it, because sometimes I still like, I still become like a human. But I think the important thing is like, it doesn't matter like what wisdom you're reading, or like, I mean, I guess it does matter, but like most of the time there's truths and wisdoms and like everything. So, as long as you're like following Kami-sama and like actually trying to live as a person, like going the right way forward, that's what really matters. You can read like a whole library of things, and like that was me, because like in university, I went to my university library, and I was like, it was like a big, huge, like old library, and like wall to wall of books. And I would spend so much hours there reading books and like writing down notes and like trying to understand like the ancients, and like like imagining myself as like some kind of philosopher. Yeah, like 20-year-old philosopher, University of Toronto, etc. It's so embarrassing. Um and I read all these books and I knew all these things, and I still remember everything I read. Um, and it was so ridiculous, because what did I do when I went home after reading all those books? I would go on my computer and I would go on like Tumblr or something, and I would start like arguing about like J fashion or something. And it's like, what? It's like, whoa, like what is that? It's like completely this huge gap of like, there's a huge gap, so it's like, it's so embarrassing. It's like, it's like, what is that? But yeah, exactly. Torah's like, we're all 20-year-old philosophers once. Exactly. It's like, oh my god. And if you're not a 20-year-old philosopher yet, don't become one. Like, like avoid the era. You can like escape the evil fate of becoming a 20-year-old philosopher. Um, but yeah, no, like it was so silly. Like I have to laugh, because it was like, what is that? Like, but I think that's the thing, right? Like we think we know so much, like in our head, like we have so much head knowledge and so much wisdom in our head. But it's like if this knowledge just stays here, it doesn't do any good for us. Like we have to bring it down here in our hearts. We have to bring the head knowledge to our heart, and we have to live that knowledge and live that wisdom from our heart and from our spirit. And I think there's actually a saying, like the longest road is between the heart and the head or something. I don't know if that's actually applying to wisdom, but in this case it would. Like, like in this case it would, because you have to actually like move the knowledge from here to here, and that is a really long road, and a lot of people don't want to do it. Like they just don't want to, because it takes effort. It takes you to face the hard feelings. It takes you to recognize that you're not actually following these things, or you're not actually at the level you think you are. And like and like, it's like an ego thing, right? Like you want to feel powerful, you want to feel wise, you want to feel important in the world. But you know you have to understand that, like, just because you know a lot of things and you read a lot of things and you feel important, you feel smart, and you feel all these things, unless you're actually putting the effort to be these things, it's not going to be actually real. So you have to like try to do it. You have to try. And it's not even like an ego thing at that point, because it's like when you're trying, it's like you want everyone else to try too. Like you want people, like other people, to also be like have that greatness. Like that you want them to also be wise and like embody good things. And then you have like a really good society, like you have a really good world around you, because everyone is on the same page, like everyone's trying. But I think that's part of it. It's like where if you're the one trying and it's really hard, and then you look around you and no one else is trying, and everyone's just like living for themselves, or like grifting, or like posting on social media like the top 10 ways to like enlighten your soul, and then it's like no one actually does anything. It's easy to feel discouraged, and it's easy to feel like, well, what's the point if no one else is trying? Like, why should I try? But I still think that it's important to try anyway. And because it's like, then what is life for, right? Like I'm just gonna live life like doing drama and like pretending I'm like smart when not actually learning how to be like wise and smart. So like no. So I just think it's good to try anyway. So Redeemed says, I would say that you were actual ancient Greece philosopher, because basically they were the same philosophy as activity for men who can't an actual job. Oh my gosh. That's funny, Oh my gosh. No, but I mean, I don't know. It was different back then. But it's true. Like nowadays, we have to put in some work. We have to put in some work. Like we don't have the facilities to like think about stuff, or like take time to reflect on the world. We're in like the trenches of Earth and society, and I think that now's the time for people to do actions, than just like keeping it up here, you know. And it doesn't mean like just doing stuff randomly, but like again, like actions mean, how do you change yourself, like what do you do when you wake up in the morning? What do you do when you talk to other people? What do you do when you see something that bothers you and it's like, oh my god, this is so like crazy? Like how do you react to it? Like all of these things are so important to think about and reflect on, and give yourself some grace, but also, how do you want to move forward? How do you want to evolve yourself? And even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's embarrassing, even if it's like, it's gonna hurt your ego, I think we still have to try. I think that's where it all starts, because again, like, yeah, I'm probably gonna repeat the same thing over and over, because like I think this is so important, right? Because again, like people smarter than me have said smarter things and have smarter wisdom and have more articulate ways of explaining like ideal humanness. But even though that exists, it just stays in people's heads, and nothing happens in real life, and we're still stuck in the same problems now. So yeah, it has to start somewhere, right? Like, so I just like, okay, it's gotta start. I can't control what other people do, but I can control what I do. So I gotta start with myself, right? try to follow like Konko Daijin Sama's example. I think that's the thing, right? Like a lot of people too in Konko Faith, they think about just the teachings, right? Like they think about just the Konko teachings, and the teachings are important. I'm not saying they're not, but it's not just Konko Daijin Sama's teachings and how do they apply to people's circumstances, but I think it's also Konko Daijin's example, like the example of who he was and the example of his actions and thoughts. How do we follow that example genuinely and sincerely? And how do we change as a result of that? And, I don't think Uncle Daijin Sama would go on Twitter and like cause drama on Twitter.com. I don't think he would do that. I think he would just like see stuff and pray about it to Kami-sama and be like, what do we do, Kami-sama, about the situation, I don't think Konko Daijin-sama would start Twitter drama. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna try to get in the conversation. I'm just gonna be like, no, like I'm just gonna I guess I kind of did today, but it was less about like my like, it was more about the whole thing, not the drama itself, but like the concept of the drama, how it affected everyone, and how there's some points are made, and they're it's okay to say them, but also, at the big picture, like what's really important, like what do we really have to focus on? So yeah. Oh my gosh, Tora says, Vadim, have you ever seen The History of the World Part 1? Oh my gosh. I never saw this. Or is it like that Flash video from like, oh no, no way, it's not. Oh no, it's not. It's like a whole thing. I think I remember seeing this on TV. Oh my god. I should watch it again though. I remember seeing it. Is there like a Flash video? Wait, so like I remember a Flash video about it. I'm dreaming it. I don't know. Vadim says, I think I missed it because it's older than me, but I have to watch it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Tara says, yeah, the Mel Brooks movie. Sorry. There's a part where he's trying to collect unemployment as a stand-up philosopher. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I should watch it again too. Maybe we should do a watch party in the Konko server. That'd be funny. Oh my god. But we need to find times and stuff. It's okay if we watch it on our own too. But it's funny. Oh my god. But yeah, and I don't know. And like we're living in really weird times, like with the internet and like globalization. I mean, like I'm okay. Like I like connecting with people all over the world, but like I feel like there's a lot of nuance to that too, like how it affects us. And like a lot of time on TikTok, I see TikToks about people talking about like parallel universes and like timeline shifting and like all this stuff. And I'm like, we're living in intense times, and half the time I don't even know like if there is actually timeline shifts, because like it's been weird. Like the Mandela effects, like there's so many Mandela effects that are like scary to me, because I'm like, I remember that, but it's different. Like, it's different now. Okay, I have a question for everyone. Do you guys know the shoe called like Skechers? So like apparently, this is just really quick because I realize it's 2 a.m. But so do you know there's a shoe brand called Skechers, and I always thought it was spelled like this, Skechers, but apparently it's spelled. See, I don't even know how to spell it now. Skechers. I don't even know. But it was like nowadays it's spelled differently without the K, and I'm like, oh yeah, Skechers. Like now apparently it's spelled like this. It's not Skechers, it's like Skechers. And I was like, and I was going crazy because I was like, I swear I remembered like Skechers, especially because yeah, especially because like I remember like genuinely like drawing the logo, because for class we had like a logo class, so we had to draw like different company logos, and I remember the Skechers one specifically. And apparently it's different now. And I'm just like, maybe we are timeline shifting. I don't know. Like we're living in a weird world right now. Yeah, it was strange. And then, like the famous one is like the Bernstein bears and the Berenstain bears. And apparently, I don't know, there's more of them. But wait, I don't know. Anyway, it's like a whole thing. So I see like tons of videos like that on the internet. So it's like on top of trying to be like a good person and like evolve ourselves and like change ourselves, we're living in such a weird world on top of that. And like a world where like things don't really seem real all the time, or like especially with the internet and like AI and like deep fakes and Mandela effects and like all of this stuff. So it's even more effort, I feel, to like evolve ourselves in this kind of like situation. And there's a lot of like distractions and like animalities and strangeness. And it's like it's a whole thing. So it's like scary. Oh my god, Vadim says, I think living in Russia, I've never seen the actual sketches, only fake ones, so I have no idea what's the actual name. Oh no. Yes, oh my god, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Oh my god, I don't even know. I was like, did I like dreams? Like, I don't know. Anxious. Oh, sorry. Tora-san says, "Oh, Vadim is like mine. We're all spelled correctly. What do you mean?" Exactly. Exactly. It's so strange. And there was like other things like the Monopoly guy had like a monocle and like Looney Tunes was spelt like tunes as in like Toons. Sorry, it was like this, but it was actually tunes. So like there's all these little things and I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't actually know. Like yeah, no, apparently the real one is yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Looney Tunes. I don't know. We're just shifting universes. Like I don't know. We have to like deal with shifting timelines on top of trying to be good people. So it's like we're in a weird time. It's like Kongo Daiji sama had to deal with like the Meiji era and like yokai and like kitsune and tanuki spirits, and we got to deal with like the timeline shifts and like the alternate universes and like TikTok and the internet. So it's like that. So we have our own struggles, and it's crazy. Yeah, it's just so weird. I don't know, but hopefully we stay in the same universe and we can like make this universe better, or the same timeline, I should say. Because like it doesn't matter which universe we're in. Like I think it's all connected, but it's not like we're like actually shifting worlds. I think it's like I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. But I don't try to think about it that deep. I just follow Kami-sama. Like that's the thing, right? Like we're so lucky because through all the madness, you just have to follow Kami-sama and then you're okay. So it's like we're gonna be okay. It's like as long as we're with Kami-sama, like we're good. And like even if we go to another planet, like Tenchikano no Kami-sama is still gonna be there. So like I'm okay. Like you know. So yeah. Vidim says we have to survive to the TikTok Jansen's at the Jinja. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my god. Tora-san says, I wouldn't mind shifting to a little bit more precedented of a timeline. No, same. We need things to calm down. Seriously, we need things to calm down. Just really quick again, like I saw this recent picture of like certain world leaders talking to like super like pale alien men, and they're like their hair is really blonde like mine. And I was like, why does they have the same hair color as me? Am I like an alien too? And I was joking to my friends about it. I was like, what is going on? Like, the world leaders are talking to elves and like aliens and stuff. Like, it's just so ridiculous right now. Like, we're in weird times. Like, we're really weird times. Oh my god. And they're like talking about like UFOs and stuff. And I'm just like, if an alien came, like, watch. Like the alien knows Kami-sama. Like we're gonna be friends. Like it's gonna be okay. Like honestly, if like Tenchikano Kami-sama was everywhere, the alien would also know them. So it's okay. Okay, bye, Vadim-san. Thank you so much for coming. Hope you have a good night. Take it easy. Bye bye. Yeah, and Tora-san says, but I think a lot of it is that our brains are so unreliable at forming memories correctly and sometimes just make stuff up to fill the gaps. But we're all unreliable in the same way. Oh yeah, no, I think that is the most like what's the word? That is the most like best explanation for the Mandela effect. Is that like we're just filling in the gaps of like what is right or what is wrong. But our brain is like, I don't know, it's just it was this and like it wasn't. So I don't know. But yeah, it was just funny. It's like we're at weird times. Weird times. And I think it's just gonna get worse with like AI stuff and like because so many people are like online all the time. And it's so easy to fake an image or fake a video. And it's so easy to like distort information. And it's like, oh my god, like we're in the trenches. So I don't know. I just pray to Kami-sama, like please, like show us the right way. How do we live through life? How do we become better people? And not get lost in the tidal wave of like all the madness. So yeah, I think like no matter what, just like keep like trusting in Kami-sama. Praying to them, communicating to them, following the guidance that they give, because that's the thing, right? Like human brains are unreliable. Our five senses can be fooled. We don't always know what we're seeing or hearing is true or real. But I feel like, Tenchikano Kami-sama, like in Kami-sama as a whole, like the divine, they can see everything and they see things clearly and they know the whole picture and they can guide us. And again, like even if you're worried, like, well, if I can be like fooled or tricked, like how can I be guided properly? But I know that like when you're really sincere and you're really like desperate to like connect to Kami-sama and like truly praying from like the bottom of your heart, like Kami-sama will never ignore that. And they're always going to hear that prayer. And then like results will start to happen in your life that will make things like show the clear way. So it's kind of like, if you're like, I don't know, it's like, yeah, if you're like lost in a forest and you don't know which way you're going, but if you really sincerely like pray for help from the bottom of your heart, you're like, it's even like your mind will start to clear and you'll start to see the path you have to take in the forest. And it's like, okay, if I trust and follow this, that feels the right way, like you'll eventually find the way out of the forest and like find the clear way forward. And I know that because I've experienced that. And like, I really feel like there's no way like Kami-sama would abandon or like ignore someone who really is like crying or like crying to them for help or like really sincerely asking them for help. So like, that's important, like just ask. And again, that goes for any like true divinity, like real divinity, God, Kami-sama, deities, because like they're all like in my experience, like they're all connected. Like they all like work together. Like at least deities that we would know by like name and like understanding them, and they've been close to humanity. So I feel like we'll be guided. And like even if they're not, because I actually have a friend who prays to a divinity that is not part of like any established tradition or anything like that, but like they've been close to this divinity for a long, long time, and they know their name and like their essence and everything. And when they follow their divinity, like their life is actually going in the way that they need it to go, because it's like a sincere and genuine connection, and a true bond. So, I think it like there's that can happen too, right? There's like a traditional saying in Japan that like they say like results are everything. So like, if you have a genuine connection with a divinity and like a higher being that like really wants to take care of you, it'll really reflect in yourself as a person, like you'll become more wise, you'll become more grounded, you'll find the right way forward, you'll move towards kindness and helping others, and all of these things that we always say are good things, right? But if you're kind of being like led astray, or like, being taken advantage of spiritually or even by other people, the result of that, the effect of that is means like, you're going to feel more erratic, feel more anxious, feel more, like out of balance, and like things are getting messier, right? And it's not to say like things aren't messy, or like you can't feel anxious even when you have a connection to the divine, but it's like the way that you're going, right? So like, even though I've been following Kami-sama for many years, I still get times when I'm like anxious and upset, and feeling, stress and all this stuff. But I know I'm being guided towards like more peace and more wisdom and more, a better way forward. But if there's like a time when like there's something that's taking advantage of you, or like you're being led astray by like either like a bad person or a bad spirit, or I don't know if there's like bad spirits or anything, but same way that there's people who are kind of corrupt, there's still like, because what's inside people is like mitama no kami, and mitama no kami can turn away from kami-sama. So same way, like other existences can also, be the same path. And anyway, if it's not sincere, genuine, like people can fall into difficult times, and like not difficult times, but like their mental state, like their mindset can be more like unstable and erratic, and like all this bad things happening until they kind of crash, and then they realize. I've seen it a lot of times, like this pattern happening over and over again. So the thing is, like, you want to try to help people before that happens. But I think that saying is true, that traditional saying that like results are everything. That if the connection is genuine, you'll actually see genuine results of that. It's kind of, again, like how Konko Daijin-sama, he began to pray to Konjin-sama. And everyone was afraid of Konjin-sama. They're like, why are you praying to Konjin-sama? He's like this evil kami-sama. He's going to kill you. He's going to kill your family members. He's like scary. Like, don't pray to him. And then, but Konko Daijin-sama was like, no, I'm going to pray to Konjin-sama because he saved my life. And then, some other people were doubting him. They're like, oh, it's just a kitsune spirit. It's just a tanuki who's like tricking him. And, all of the blessings he gave to people is just like, kitsune's tricks or something, like evil fox spirits tricks, or evil raccoon tanuki, spirit tricks. But like, no, because because the blessings were consistent, and Konko Daijin-sama himself grew into a wiser and a more noble and person with divine virtue. And so like everyone could tell that his faith in Konjin-sama was genuine and real, and Konjin-sama wasn't this like, twisted, evil kami-sama who hated people. Konjin-sama was actually a really powerful and like divine virtue kami-sama who people had like disrespected. But when Konko Daijin-sama actually showed true respect, there was really huge blessings that happened from that as a result. So that's how like people knew it was real. And that's why like when they went to approve the faith with the Shirakawa Shinto like house, they like recognized Konjin-sama and the faith as like a real faith because of the results of all the blessings of the divine virtue of the people who followed Konjin-sama. Like there was results from this. It wasn't just like hearsay, or like, okay, we'll just stamp it and prove it. Like there had to be like a reason for them to say like, yes, we give this recognition as a real faith. And that was because of the results of it, because of the impact on the communities, and how people could see like worshiping Konjin-sama actually brought many divine blessings. So it's like, there's always going to be those results and that impact. So yeah. So I think this is a good place to end. I just realized it's like 2 a.m. But yeah, but thank you so much, everyone. So yeah, I hope it was a good talk, and thank you, Tora-san, and thank you, Vadim-san, for joining us, and everyone else. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time on the. Oh no, I don't have a live stream. I'll see you guys next Tuesday, the 23rd. I'll have a live then. So yeah, see you guys then. And there's a there's like a little moth. And please take care and have a good night. Okay, bye for now. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Oyasumi nasai. Thank you, Tora-san. Bye. Wow. Okay, bye bye.